Now, there's no secret on what religion has done for Africans. We don't have to come up with a concept. We just look at history. And we're humans or creatures of habit, should I say. So when you look at the past and observe what Christianity has done, it's very difficult for the people to now say, well, it's going to do better in the future. It's a difficult conversation to have. Now, some of the biggest challenges of religion this day and age is that it doesn't tackle on a lot of the issues we have as black people right now. So I want to speak on some of that. Right now we have a lot of things going on with black people across the world in general, and it's now come to the forefront, especially on a racial basis. And I don't see the church addressing that. And the reason why they can't address that, as the brother said, because their God is, they look like the people that suppress them. So it's quite difficult. So I always wonder, how does the church be able to tackle that? Because I will speak to other pastors and stuff like that, because we have to have the conversation. We cannot be ignorant on any level at all. And they say, well, Jesus loves everybody, and we go into the narrative. This has been the issue. Same thing, different era. Right? So now we're in a situation where black people are being killed, we have issues economically, socially, traditional, and the church is unable, and I believe unfit, to tackle these topics. Because I think what becomes the cornerstone is have faith. You can't tell a starving child, have faith. You can't tell the starving child that Jesus is going to cure its malaria or its hunger. So it's not practical. So I always wonder that the church has failed this society practically. You can build a pump, right? And you can feed a village. But if it's in the name of a European deity, it becomes a problem. So you don't give with the right and take with the left and say we should be happy for them. It doesn't quite work out that way. So what happens is, we have to look at what is the church doing for our young people in this country? What is it doing for the mothers, the fathers? What is it doing practically? Because if you're going to say to somebody that comes into a church or a mosque and say, hey, if you do your prayers, you read your book, you know, God's going to help you get this job, right? And when he finally gets the job, he takes away the fact that as a man, as a woman, they fought for that position and giving the praise to something external. So it doesn't boost their confidence in themselves as people. It doesn't uplift them, but it makes them dependent on that source. Because they assume that's the source of why they got this job, or that's the source why they're able to do what they're able to do. So what I always challenge is the practicality of religion. So I wouldn't go on too much on the Christians, because we have to look at also Islam, right? Because it's not only Christianity that's in this pot, you have Islam and Judaism, right? And they're all part of the same situation, right? They all promote white supremacy. That's the bottom line, whether we like to see it that way or not, and we can go through it. It does. One of the saddest things, because I went to school in Africa and I was born in Africa, right? What's sad is that...
5 minutes, brother.
Thank you. What's sad is that we've taken away our glory in our tradition, because our tradition told a story, a spiritual story. It told us about our journey, where we come from and why we are here. It gave purpose. So when you take that away and replace it by anything else, it is foreign. And it can never connect with the spirit. It will always be an issue. So in order for black people to be in their right mind, we need to be in our right state. And that's spiritually. So you see a lot of issues. You see a lot of issues created by, you create the problem and then you give the solution. That is the real definition of control. Right? So what happens is, when you have a situation like Haiti, and you make that statement, same sentiment, I wonder what do the Christians in Haiti think when people make that statement. Right? Because they probably believe it. So when they believe it, what happens to these people psychologically? They believe that maybe they're deserving of this, maybe God don't like us, and maybe we have no hope. It brings about hopelessness, and it's a problem. So if you want to empower people, you have to let them know how much they are capable of and their potential. You can't say something else did it. It's a problem, especially for a race of people who need a lot of self-determination and self-will to come up. Because we need to know that only us are going to take over the situation. And we cannot downplay the fact that having that white figure in the house is a massive problem. We cannot downplay that. We just can't. And I always wonder that if you bring about Islam and all these things, how do you consolidate that with still, you know, trying to empower people in this day and age? How can you say, okay, we're trying to empower Black Lives Matter, whatever movement that's helping black people? How do you consolidate that in a church? Because you're going to always bring it back to the basics of the book. And that book can't solve everyone's problem.
2 minutes.
If it would, we wouldn't have all the walls fall over it, and it wouldn't be done so violently if it could solve everyone's problem. Religion cannot solve a problem. Right? At the same time, we must not be ignorant. What I'll say to my brothers and sisters is that study. Because a lot of African spiritual DNA is inside the religion. So I will not ever urge us to be ignorant. I will say, let's look into it. Let's use it for our benefit. It's all part of the situation. Let's not be blind to the fact, and let's not downplay the errors of religion and what it's brought to our people. So what I leave us with is this. Religion has failed us emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and practically. So unless it's about to do something practically, it has a lot to answer for. Thank you very much.